done by Nirubal, Ishitalatya, and Sukhmeet Kaur. Blood composition. Blood is composed of 4 major elements: red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and plasma. Red blood cells. Red blood cells are round with flat, indented centers. They carry oxygen to the rest of the body and carbon dioxide to the lungs, which is then exhaled. They are created in the bone, more particularly in the bone marrow. Red blood cells live for about 120 days and then they die. White blood cells. White blood cells make up about 1% of our blood's composition. However, they are very important to our survival. White blood cells fight infections, bacteria, and other harmful pathogens to our bodies. White blood cells are made up in the bone marrow and are stored in the blood and lymphatic tissue. White blood cells have a lifespan of about 1 to 3 days. Platelets. Platelets are small blood cells that help the blood clot. When a blood vessel is damaged, it sends out signals that the platelets pick up. The platelets then rush over to the damaged site to create a blood clot. The process of the platelets spreading across a damaged blood vessel is called adhesion. This is what keeps the blood from seeping out of the skin. The platelets also send out chemical signals to attract other platelets to pile onto the clot. This is called aggregation. Plasma. Plasma is the often forgotten about element in our blood. Red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets play a very important role in keeping our blood healthy. However, plasma does as well. Plasma is the fluid that keeps all red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets intact. It is what carries the white blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets throughout the body. The parts of the heart. The heart is perhaps one of the most complex and important parts of our body. It is the center of the circulatory system and life itself. Atria. The 2 hollow chambers on top of the heart are called the atria. Individually, they are called the right atrium and the left atrium. The right atrium collects deoxygenated blood from the body, and the left atrium collects oxygenated blood from the lungs. The bottom 2 parts of the heart are called the ventricles. They receive blood from the atria and are individually called the left and right ventricles. The right ventricle pushes blood into the heart for oxygenation, and the left ventricle pushes oxygenated blood throughout the rest of the body, making it the largest and the most powerful chamber of the heart. The mitral valve separates the left atrium from the left ventricle, while the tricuspid valve separates the right ventricle from the right atrium. The aortic valve lies between the left ventricle and the aorta, which leads to the body's network of blood vessels. The pulmonary valve lies between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery, which leads to the lungs. These valves open and close in response to changes in pressure within the heart.
The circulatory system has 3 types of blood vessels: the arteries, capillaries, and veins. All 3 vessel types have an inner endothelium, and like all other tissues, the blood vessels require oxygen and nutrients. An arterial wall has 3 layers. The endothelium is the innermost layer. It is made up of epithelium tissue. The middle layer is made up of smooth muscle cells that can contract or dilate to regulate blood flow and pressure. The outer layer is a loose connective tissue made up of collagen fiber and protects the blood vessel. The largest artery in the human body is the aorta. It is 25 millimeters wide. Smaller arteries that branch off from the aorta are called arterioles. Capillaries are extremely narrow. Capillary walls are made up of just a single layer of epithelial tissue. Although each capillary is small, they form vast networks. Capillary beds are present in all regions of the body besides the cornea of the eye. Capillaries play a key role in homeostasis. They deliver oxygen and other nutrients and carry back waste such as carbon dioxide. Veins and venules carry oxygen-poor blood back to the heart. Venules are small veins that drain blood from the capillaries and then merge to form veins. Veins have a smaller amount of smooth muscle and connective tissue than arteries. Since the pressure is so low in the veins, they have valves to keep the blood moving in the right direction and to prevent backflow. The circulatory system includes two circuits: the pulmonary circuit, which circulates blood through the lungs, and the systemic circuit, which serves the needs of body tissues. This drawing shows the path of blood in the pulmonary and systemic circuits. The pulmonary arteries and veins take blood from the right side to the left side of the heart, tracing blood from the digestive tract to the right atrium. The systemic circuit involves the hepatic portal vein, the hepatic vein, and the inferior vena cava. The blue-colored vessels carry oxygen-poor blood, and the red-colored vessels carry oxygen-rich blood. Blood pressure is the measurement of the force of blood pushing against the inside wall of blood vessels. When the left ventricle contracts, blood is forced into the aorta, and then into other systemic arteries under pressure. As blood flows from the aorta into the arteries and arterioles, blood pressure falls. Blood pressure can be measured with a sphygmomanometer. It has a pressure cuff that determines the amount of pressure required to stop the flow of blood through an artery. Blood pressure is expressed in millimeters of mercury.